guys, hello again, welcome to the channel. Obviously you know I'm in Morocco from the last few videos, but I've been asked a lot about, you know, the costs of Morocco. What is it expensive, how much does it cost, and this and that. So I thought, as the weather wasn't too good today, that I would just spend a few minutes and perhaps give you a little bit of an insight into, you know, money and a few tips and tricks and things like that with regards to Morocco. The most popular crossing to come into Morocco is the ferry that goes from the port of Algeciras to Tangier Med. Now Tangier Med is a huge great port, and since that's opened up to tourist traffic, it's made coming into Morocco, you know, a lot simpler than it used to be years ago, and I'll explain in a moment. But effectively, if you come down to Algeciras, and where you're going to get the ferry from, so you'll come, as you're driving along, you'll see that there are lots and lots of ticket offices on the side of the main road, often in like a garage forecourt or maybe just next to a garage or whatever. But I have to say that over the years I've always used a chap called Carlos. He runs a ticket office and travel agency in Los Barrios, which is only about 4 or 5 kilometers from Algeciras port, and I'll put a link to his premises in the description below. For 2 people and a camper van and motorhome, it will cost you around about 180 euros return, and return is an open return, so you don't have to give a specified return date. When you get to Morocco, and you've got your stamp in your passport, you're going to get a 90-day visa. Effectively you can stay for 90 days. It is possible to extend that for another 3 months, but the fact that you've got an open return ticket on the ferry means that if you want to come back before 3 months, or you want to extend and come back after 6 months, you can certainly do that with your ticket. And as I said, it's going to cost you around 180 euros for 2 people in your camper van. Now obviously if you're towing a car, if you've got a trailer, if you've got a bike on the, you know, a motorcycle or anything like that, it will cost you a little more. I'm not exactly sure what the extra cost would be, but it's not going to be a fortune obviously. So once you've got your ticket, and the other thing I would say, that if you go to Carlos to get your tickets, and I'm not sponsored or in any way being paid by him, but it's just convenient because it's near to the port, but also within just a couple of 100 meters or so of the ticket office there for Carlos, you'll find there's a little supermarket, there's also a Mercadona and a Carrefour. Now obviously one of the things that a lot of people like to take to Morocco is alcohol, your wines and your spirits and your beers. Now effectively Morocco is considered to be a dry country, which is surprising really, because they actually produce an incredible amount of wine in the Meknes region. But in Morocco, where you can actually buy wines and spirits and beers, are few and far between. These days it only tends to be either the Carrefour supermarkets, and there's not many of those. There are a few outlets in Agadir, and then throughout the country, if you ask, you know, a little bit is under the counter, but if you do ask, you might well be said, well, if you go up a little alleyway, there's a little metal door, knock on the door 3 times and you'll find you can buy some there. But it is a bit hit and miss, and you might end up having to go on a fair drive to get to a Carrefour, for example, in order to buy. So most people tend to take a fair stock with them. With the Lidls and a Mercadona and also the Carrefour, you've got plenty of options. Excuse me. So okay, so now you've got your alcohol, you've got your groceries, and again I would just say that if you've got any sort of favourite food items, it's not a bad idea to take some with you. You will buy everything you need to eat and everything else obviously in Morocco, but you know, certain things like sauces or you know, quality butter and things like that, you might find it easier to take with you. So you've got all that, you go down to Algeciras, you'll check in for your ferry and you'll be called forward. Now once you're actually on board the ferry, you'll need to find your way up to the passport booth, because on board the ferry during the crossing, you'll go to the booth and they will look at your passport. They will put a stamp in it with that day's date, and your 90 days is from that day, so you've got a 3-month visa just on that stamp. They will also put a special police number in the passport, just above that stamp, and you'll find that you're going to be asked a lot for that number when you go into campsites or anything like that. Not only will they want to see the passport to take your details, but they'll always look for that police number. So it's a good idea to make sure you've got it when you get your passport back. Just make sure they've written in that police number and make sure it's legible. Then you're good to go. You'll eventually arrive obviously in Morocco, and as you come off the ferry, you will be called into like a customs area, and they will ask you for your vehicle registration document. And the vehicle registration document has got to be the original. It can't be a photocopy. They won't accept photocopies. Now, you don't need the MOT and things like that, although, you know, if you're going to carry your documents, it's probably worth keeping them all with you and keeping them safe. But you do need that original registration document. You'll give them the documents. They will go in, they'll register it on their computer, they'll come back out, they'll give you your registration document back and a little slip which has got the details of your vehicle on it, and you're then basically free to leave and you can go off and start your adventures. But one point, if indeed you're from the UK, these days most English insurance companies don't offer a green card for Morocco. I'm not sure obviously what it's like for other, you know, European countries, but my understanding is that the vast majority of English insurance companies don't issue a green card for Morocco these days. So as you leave where you've had your vehicle checked in and you come towards leaving the port, you'll see there is an area where there are 2 or 3 bank offices, and there's also an insurance office, and you can buy insurance there for your stay in Morocco. Now the way it works is quite strange, because if you buy insurance there for 1 month, it's going to cost you around about €90 for the month. Obviously if you want to stay for the full 3 months, you want to buy 3 months insurance. But the thing is, if you buy or want 3 months insurance, you'll only end up paying for 2. Weird, I know. So, you know, for around about €180, you're going to get 3 months worth of insurance. Do bear in mind though, it's not going to give you the full same coverage that you're probably going to get from your own insurance in the UK, but it covers all the legal requirements and you're good to go. Also, while you're getting your insurance, if you need to get it there, you can get your first dirhams from the banks. There are the offices there, and there's also 2, I think, or 3 ATM machines. Now, as far as the exchange rate's concerned, it's been fairly constant for a good number of years now. So if you're talking in terms of pound sterling, rounding it off now, there's 12.5 Moroccan dirhams to £1. If you're talking euros, it's 10 dirhams to €1. If you get your exchange rate from the bank there, they normally do it commission free. If you take money out from the ATM machine, whether it be there or anywhere in Morocco, you would normally pay a €3 or 35 dirham charge. So as a tip, I would suggest that, you know, you try and take your maximum daily allowance. So for example, I think on one of my credit cards or debit cards, I have a maximum of £300 per day. So it's worth me taking a full £300 out, or the value of £300, because I'm only paying then the €3 as a one transaction, whereas if I was to go in and say take £100, £100, I'm paying that commission 3 times, €9. So just bear that in mind. So okay, so now you've taken the ferry, you've arrived in Morocco, you've got your insurance, you've got your first dirhams, and you can get off and start your adventures. So let me give you a little idea of a few prices. Obviously, you know, as far as campsites are concerned, for between £3.25 and £10, you'll get a campsite which has got all the usual facilities: electric hookup, showers, you know, toilets, etc., etc., places to empty your grey and black waste, and obviously get topped up with water. Just to give you some idea, one of my favourite places to go is down into Mezzouga, and I stay at a place there right on the edge of the desert where the big dunes are. And that cost me about £3.75, £4 a night, but that includes all the facilities, showers, toilets, all the black waste, grey waste, fresh water, etc., and the electric hookup, and the owner comes every morning, taps on the door and gives you a Moroccan round loaf and some pancakes for breakfast. So, you know, for that sort of money, it's ridiculous, really. So that's as far as the campsites are concerned. With regards to food items and fuel, diesel at the moment, and I'm talking now 2023, January 2023, the average cost of diesel per litre is £1.14, or that's €1.42. And it's more or less the same wherever you go in the country. There's no big differences between, you know, whether you're in the south of the country, the north of the country, etc. So generally speaking, around 1.14 is going to be the price that you'll pay. Give you some idea on food items, a fresh bread, a round Moroccan loaf, will cost you between 8 and 16 pence, depending on where you buy. If you're lucky enough to be able to find a local bakery, which are in the back streets, then you'll pay probably 1 dirham or 8p. If you're buying it from a shop, a small local shop, then you're going to be paying probably 2 dirhams, which is 16p, and you'll pay the same, much the same, if you buy it from the campsite, if they can supply you with bread. As far as fruit and vegetables are concerned, if you buy those at the local markets, you're going to find the way they do it is, again, quite strange. It's harping back to the old days in the UK, where as you go up to the store, the market area, they'll give you a plastic bowl, and you just put everything you want in the one bowl. So it could be apples and oranges, it could be potatoes and courgettes, etc, etc. But you put them all in the bowl, they're put on the weigh scales and they'll weigh them. And you're going to be paying around about 50 pence, English pence, per kilo of whatever you've decided to buy. So, yeah, you can come away with a huge, great carrier bag full of vegetables and fruit, and it's not going to cost you, you know, a great deal at all. Eggs, fresh eggs will cost you about 1 dirham each, which is 8p, as I've said before. Milk, milk's strange. Most of the milk that you buy is going to come in the cartons. It's normally UHT rather, milk. Comes in a 1 litre carton. It's going to cost you just over £1 for a litre of milk. So quite expensive really when you consider. But again, I know milk's been going up, so perhaps it's not so bad these days. As far as meat's concerned, well, if you're going to go and buy, say, chicken breast meat, fresh chicken breast, it's going to cost you around £5.50 a kilo, and minced beef around £7 a kilo. And if you buy steak, you know, for example, if you was to go into the Carrefour or the Marjan supermarkets here in Morocco, they have a beautiful butchery counter where you can buy all your various meats and bits and pieces. And you can get some really good quality steak, and a good rump steak will cost you probably around £10 a kilo. So that's gives you some idea. As I said, it's only a guide price. Prices are going to vary slightly wherever you are, but that gives you a good idea, hopefully. Okay, so what's it going to cost you? Now, obviously, we're all different. I like a glass of wine as much as the next person, although I must be honest, I haven't really drunk that much this year so far. A bit of a New Year's resolution, but there we go. As far as I'm concerned, I've tended to not drink as much as I would normally drink. I don't tend to go out to restaurants or anything like that very often. Got to bear in mind, I've been to Morocco many times, and so most of the excursions and the souvenir buying and all that sort of thing I've done. So I tend to, as I said, not go on many excursions. I don't tend to eat out that often. I prefer to cook my own food. So obviously my outgoings are going to be somewhat less than perhaps your own if it's your first time. You want to go out, enjoy, experiment, taste the local cuisine, go on excursions and see sights and things like that. So, but anyway, as far as I'm concerned, this should give you some idea as far as this January. Now, my entire cost of food, this is shopping in order to eat, cost me £110. So not a fortune by any stretch of the imagination. I spent £210 in diesel, and as I said before, I have tended to stay mainly in campsites in January, different reasons, but it's something that maybe most people will do on their first outing to Morocco, so it's a pretty good indication. and I've spent £160 on campsites in the month of January. On top of that, I spent £73 on Wi-Fi and cell data. Now, to qualify, I actually spent £32 equivalent in Morocco in January, but I have to add on to that what I pay on a contract while I'm in the UK. So even though I'm away, I still have to pay that. So in total, my spend came to £73. As I said, it was £32 as far as Morocco is concerned. And just to give you an idea on that, there are several companies that offer SIM cards, pay-as-you-go SIM cards in Morocco. The two main ones tend to be Morocco Telecom and IMWI. This year I decided to go with IMWI, and I managed to buy a data SIM which gives me 25 gigabytes a month, and I've got it for 3 months. So it was 25 gigabytes per month for a 3-month period. That included 2 hours of calls within Morocco. Okay, you're not really going to want to make that many calls in Morocco, obviously. But what I found good about it, it was completely unlimited use of WhatsApp. Now, most people tend to use WhatsApp these days, and obviously if I'm phoning people back in the UK or in Europe, we're always on WhatsApp. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I could spend hours on the phone, and it was all included within that £32, and that was for 3 months. £32 for 3 months. So that was a pretty good buy. So there was that, and then I spent about £30 on other bits and pieces, just general bits and pieces. So as far as that's concerned, I spent just under £600 for the month. I don't think that's too bad at all, really, when you consider that's for absolutely everything. I've mentioned wines before, and just to give you some idea, Moroccan wines are pretty good, actually. I mean, I'm a red wine drinker, and I can buy some pretty good wine in Morocco, and you'll pay between £3.20 upwards a bottle of wine, and the lower price ones are pretty good. So I don't think you'll have a problem buying wine in Morocco, providing, as I said, you're going to buy it when you go past a Carrefour or another outlet. Carrefour tends to be the main supermarket where you can buy alcohol. I think really that gives you some idea of costs, and a little bit of an insight into getting into Morocco and what you'll need to sort of budget for. I don't think you're going to be disappointed as far as costs are concerned. There's a lot to see and a lot to enjoy. And even if you go on excursions, they're not going to cost you an absolute fortune. Obviously we are tourists, so if you do go on, you're probably going to pay a little bit more than the local, but it's still not going to be overly expensive. A couple of things that you're going to find are somewhat different to what you're used to is the fact that apart from the supermarkets, as I've said before, the Carrefour and the Marjan, if you go into a local shop, nothing is priced. Okay, so you have to get used to, basically you're going to be standing like a counter, and everything will be laid out in the shop, so you're not going to be able to walk around the shop necessarily and just select off the shelves like you would at home. You need to go to the counter and you're going to ask for what you want. So this is a good idea to have Google Translate on your phone. So if you do have a problem speaking French, because French is a second language here and everyone seems to speak it, so if you can speak a bit of French, you're going to be fine. If you can't, then Google Translate will help you. But you're going to be then asking, and they'll come up and they'll give you the price. With regards to souvenirs and bits and pieces like that, invariably what will happen, you'll go into the shop or you'll go into one of the markets, you'll look at something you want to buy, you'll ask the price, and you'll be given one. I would suggest that you never accept the first price that was given to you. So if someone offers you a price, I would say counter that with the price of half of it. So if they want 100 dirhams, offer 50, and then you're going to haggle. I know it's a bit unusual for us to this way of living and haggling over everything, but it's good fun. So as I said, if you're given a price of 100, you come back with 50, and you're going to settle somewhere between the two. Obviously pay what you think you want to pay. You don't have to buy it, and equally, you know, you don't want to get fleeced. So you have a figure in your mind that you think that whatever it is you want to buy is of value to you and what that price may be, and then you haggle from there. So there you go. Hope that's given you a very quick intro into Morocco, especially if you're a first timer. If you've got any questions, do leave them down in the comments. And if this has been a helpful video for you, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. And also, if you ring the bell symbol, then you'll get notified when I upload any other videos. So once again, I thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much indeed.